Grandma said, "Oh, God, she looks exactly like her jerk dad. She's the ugliest baby I've ever seen. Let's just get rid of her." She wasn't wrong. Dad wasn't handsome, and neither was I, unlike my gorgeous mom and grandma. But I knew I was special in some other way. I just had to find out what it was. But because I was a secret child, I was never allowed to leave the basement. Professor in something so fancy. I got my opportunity to escape. I left the basement and ran to Dad. Daddy, it's me, Dawn, your daughter." Dad looked stunned.
"Who is she? And what is she talking about?"
"Daddy, look at me, please, But I looked at his face and he looked like he was gonna explode, and I just knew I'd messed up big time. I needed to say something, so I said, I'm like your daughter. Mary adopted me last week. I'm from the States. I'm a genius in English literature. I can write sonnets. Please, just teach me to become like you." Dad was super impressed. I never had friends until I reached the 6th grade, when a new boy came to our class. He was from Belgium. He sat behind me, and the teacher asked him to introduce himself. And he said, "Hi, I'm Belgium from Ben. No, I'm Ben. Yes, I'm Ben from Ben." Never heard of that country before. Where is it? In nowhere? Next to your brain? Everyone started laughing. What mean kids? So I got up and defended him. "You guys are awful. Ben is my friend, and if you annoy him, then you're annoying me. And that would not be okay. And you know exactly what I mean." Everyone went silent and turned their heads to the board. From that day on, we became best friends. But when we were in the 9th grade, that changed. One day, Ben and I had a presentation in physics class.
"Sir Isaac Newton quantified the gravity between two objects when he formulated his 3 laws of motion. There are 10...
Suddenly, he tripped and took me down with him. We both fell on the floor, and the chart paper in his hand floated down and covered us. "Look at Ben 10. He's real smooth, isn't he?" But Ben and I weren't even listening, because he was on top of me and his blue eyes were hypnotizing me. Slowly, he inched closer. I froze, but suddenly the teacher told us to get up. From that day, I really started to have feelings for him. But I had to make sure Dad never found out. He would ground me for life for just having a crush. He always said,
"Smart people don't fall in love, and genius people don't even know what love is."
A few months later, though, Ben asked me out. He said I was smart and pretty. I wasn't pretty, and he wasn't telling the truth. But I appreciate what a man in love would say. I agreed to date him, but told him to keep it a secret. We had the greatest time of our lives. But all that came crashing down when Alina joined our class in the 10th grade. She was from Belgium, and even I knew she was a goddess. At first it was fine, but then one day she asked Ben if she could borrow his notebook to take some notes. He agreed and gave it to her. When she took it, she touched his hand, like touch them, not by accident at all. And then she said something in Dutch, and whatever she said made Ben laugh and blush. I was so annoyed, but I asked him about it, and he told me it was nothing. I got crazy mad and went back home and started Googling ways to look gorgeous. One website said that eating flowers would make me beautiful, so I filled up my plate with rose petals and started munching. Oh, phew. This is horrible. What am I even doing? I suddenly realized I didn't need to look beautiful to impress him. I was already a genius. So I started learning Dutch. Since I was a Germanic language genius, as Dad was always saying, I became fluent in Dutch in 2 months. Then one day, while Ben and I were having lunch, Elena came and asked to join us. Ben scooted over a little, but I didn't budge. She turned to Ben, and in Dutch she said, "Ben, you're a good guy. You should be with someone who understands you. Someone like me, and not some Armenian Dumbo. You and me." I jumped to my feet and replied in Dutch, "I think it's time for you to finally shut your mouth, you witch." They both looked stunned. Then she said something in French, and I said, "I can understand that too, you moron. Leave my boyfriend or I'll make you regret the moment you move to the States." I thought she'd have some shame, but no. To my utter annoyance, she turned to Ben and said something in German. Ugh, Belgium, why do you have to know so many languages? Just choose one. She grinned at me like the witch she was and pushed me aside. "Sounds like you didn't understand German, huh, genius?" I lost control. "That's it, you witch." Before I knew what was happening, I slapped her hard and pushed her on the ground. Ben was shocked.
What's wrong with you?
I had to fight because words in 3 freaking languages did not stop her.
Just go home, Dawn.
And then he held Lena and left with her. I went home that day feeling so furious. I told Dad everything. He laughed at me and said I was stupid for believing Ben at all.
He's a jerk, and he's obviously crushing over this other girl, Elena.
He was right. The next day, I broke up with Ben. The rest of high school just flew by, and I graduated with honors. At graduation, Ben came to talk to me, but I ignored him. A month later, I moved to another state to specialize in teaching English to foreign kids with dyslexia, but Dad was dead set against it. After weeks of begging, he finally agreed, but only after he made me promise him I would publish 25 research papers every 4 months, and he really bought it. Pfft, as if. So all this time, he knew that I was his real daughter and didn't say anything to me or Mom. A month later, Ben got out of jail and I was happy to see him, but also thought about what Dad said. And sure enough, Ben had changed, and not for the better. He became distant and cold. Then he started asking me for money. I would give him some at first, but then I started feeling something was fishy. I decided to leave him, but he didn't take that well. He started threatening me and stalking me everywhere. I felt really scared, so I decided to go to my dad. Sure, he was a jerk sometimes, but he would forgive me just like he forgave Mom, right? Wrong. As soon as I entered the house, Dad smirked.
I don't even want to know what he did this time. Get out.
Dad, please forgive me. I made a mistake.
Everyone makes mistakes, but some mistakes are unforgivable. Dawn, get out of my house.
Why? What crime did I commit? Who do you think you are, huh? I'll tell you who you are. You're a pathetic, bitter man. I stormed out. I had some savings and started working online as a freelancer, and I made a lot of money. I didn't even try to talk to Dad for years, but then one day he called me. I went to see him. He looked tired and sick. He looked into my eyes.
You're a brave girl, Dawn. You're brave for making different decisions.
But I failed. I lost everything.
No, you didn't, sweetheart. You gained experience, and you